Please listen carefully.
Well, hello, universe, and welcome to the Optimist Daily Update. I'm Kristy Jansen.
And I'm Summers McKay.
And we're part of the team behind the Optimist Daily, making solutions the news. We bring you reader-funded solutions news every day in order to change the tenor of news media, social media, and the direction of your day to help make it one focused on solutions.
7 days a week, we publish positive news stories written by award-winning journalists and delivered online to your inbox and through our social channels. And also, we are sharing these solutions in a commute-worthy, walk-worthy, home office-worthy, TGIF-worthy podcast. Today is Friday, the 29th of January, 2021.
Hi, Summers.
Hi.
Happy Friday. Happy Friday. Yay.
Thank you. Happy Friday to you too, Kristy. You know, I'm ambivalent right now because being that it's Friday doesn't mean much of anything except for that tomorrow is Saturday, I guess, right? Nothing changes. Nothing different. I mean, I am going to go see my parents with the baby tomorrow and we won't meet to record the podcast. So pretty much that sucks. And I am in like a deep-seated state of Eeyoreness this morning, and I need you to bring my optimism out.
Okay,
Can you help me? Can you help me, my friend?
I think I can be of service. I can certainly be of service because for whatever reason, whether it's the bag of York peppermint patties that I finished off yesterday.
Not in one day, to clarify.
No,
it
took me about a week and a half. But anyway, that was my self-care, as we were talking about before we started recording, was indulging in some chocolate mint patties. Or just the fact that it's a bit sunny right now. There's a bit of brightness after.
Oh, is there sunny outside your house? Because it's pouring rain at mine.
Yeah, I mean, it was raining earlier. When I was walking the dog earlier, it was actually raining, but I was dressed appropriately, so I didn't mind. And he's got, double layers of fur, so he didn't mind. So it was actually pretty pleasant. But by the time we got back to the house, the sun was actually starting to come through the clouds. And the difference in, even though we have tons of windows, the fact that I don't need to have all the lights on because it's so dim outside. And I feel like that kind of, it's like that perpetual twilight, that now it actually is bright. And I could draw the shades if I wanted to.
I mean, I feel like there's a song in this. I can clearly now. Okay, I'll stop singing. But
the sun will come out tomorrow.
Yeah, there's just so many songs that we could sing. And see, I'm already feeling better. And everyone listening, if you were grumpy, now just think of those sunshine songs. And now you're less grumpy, right? That's a solution.
Music is definitely a solution.
Mm-hmm.
Nature is a solution. Connection is a solution. And so that's what we're doing here.
Exactly.
What are the solutions that you want to talk about from the website today? Or do you want to talk more about other solutions?
I mean, we could talk about our feelings for hours, but I think our listeners probably care most about the headlines on the Optimist Daily. So I want to talk about wood. And the headline that is my favorite headline today is MIT scientists are figuring out how to grow wooden furniture in a lab. Now, we have covered at length, in depth, through the oven and back, everything about lab-grown meat. And, there's a lot of different perspectives on lab-grown meat and whether or not it's delicious or gross or, better for you or not. But one thing that we do know is that lab-grown meat is less ecologically damaging than farmed meat. Well, it turns out that lab-grown wood is also less ecologically impacting, which I guess is not exactly the phrase I meant to say, but has a less substantial ecological impact than farmed or forest wood.
Well, it has a smaller footprint.
Exactly.
Yes.
The folks at good old MIT, in an attempt to mitigate the environmental harm of logging, have begun growing wood-like plant tissue from cells extracted from the leaves of a zinnia plant, for all of you gardeners, without using soil or sunlight. Basically, the goal is to stimulate it in such a way that it grows into fully formed wood objects, such as a table. In short, the scientists want to grow and rapidly produce wood in a lab that would typically take decades to grow in nature. It's kind of funny if you think about like all the little baby tables growing in the lab together and like little baby chairs. But I think that this is really fascinating because, as we look at ways of reducing our overall impact, right? It's not just our food, it's not just our structures, but how it all works together using one technology that we've found in one area as it applies to another use is really exciting.
And what this is the overarching industry is synthetic biology. And it's kind of hacking our newfound understanding, our deepening understanding, or every year we know more about how biological cells work together, how they grow, how we can take that knowledge and then apply it to real world practices that will actually help us so we don't need to grow massive forests of wood that we cut down to build our tables and chairs with all the waste products that are.
Well, exactly. I was going to sort of add to that, right? The quote that's really, I think that really codifies why this is so relevant is from a PhD student named Ashley Beckwith. And just envision this as we describe it. But trees grow in tall cylindrical poles, and we rarely use tall cylindrical poles in industrial applications. I can think of like 3. So you end up shaving off a bunch of material that you actually spent 20 years growing, and that ends up being waste product. So instead of all of the effort and energy that goes into what ends up in the wood pile, scrap heap, you actually are only creating exactly what is needed for the product that is intended. Now, I love the organizations that do use wood waste for other materials. I actually use a cat litter called feline pine, and it is entirely out of scrap pine that
But you know what? I bet you could grow that in a bioreactor just as easily.
I'm going to grow feline pine in, but I think that, again, right, solutions aren't siloed. So we do need to come up with ways of using all of the waste products, but simultaneously, as you say, this biological sciences advance is really, really exciting. So wood piles are my thing today, or lack of wood piles, or maybe lack of excess wood piles. Do you have something about wood piles?
Maybe an awkward transition, perhaps, but one of the things I remember about last year with Bernie Sanders was that I think it was when he appeared in the Democratic convention. He was filmed standing in front of this massive wood pile because he lives in Vermont, right? So you have long winters, cold winters, and wood stoves are probably how you keep warm. And that was just very down to earth Bernie, because he's a very down to earth kind of character. And that's part of his appeal, his charm. So the headline that I wanted to spotlight today, which is fun because it just made me laugh. And today my meditation word was playful. That was the sort of energy I wanted to bring into my day. And this was the one that I wanted to highlight, which the headline reads, Bernie Sanders mittens memes help to raise over $1.8 million for charities. And I don't know if some of our audience may not really be connected to the internet, but if you're on social media at all, you probably have seen some of these memes where Bernie Sanders, from the inauguration, he was sitting in his socially isolated chair by himself. He didn't have a guest with him, wearing his puffy parka, some mittens, which were a gift from one of his constituents, and he's wearing just a general face mask, and he looks super down to earth, sitting there watching.
Okay, down to earth or just super disinterested. He kind of looks like he's waiting in line at the DMV. But
true.
Yes.
And he also had like an envelope that, to deliver somewhere. It was like he stopped by on his way to go to work to watch the president.
He's got to watch this inauguration thing, and we have talked about this on the podcast. So
yeah, he's sitting there with his arms and legs crossed, wearing these recycled wool mittens, just a plain old brown parka, and a plain old surgical face mask. And this meme of him got reproduced again and again and again with the Golden Girls, with Friends, with Janet Jackson at the Super Bowl.
I'm actually on my other screen currently watching my friend Greg Corbin's Facebook feed that has a mittens and kittens battle down, and it's Bernie staring down a cat, and the cat's, it's just basically there's no end to the use of this meme. It's crazy.
The thing that I like about the way that Sanders approaches this is he has a good sense of humor, and he is pretty savvy when it comes to capitalizing on his own public image. And so using that sense of humor and his acumen for capitalizing on these kinds of things, he and his wife Jane turned the meme into an opportunity to support local charities in their home state of Vermont. And so they created a variety of so-called Chairman Sanders merchandise, because he's sitting in a chair, I guess that's the thing, that were sold on their website, and included t-shirts, sweatshirts, stickers. The merchandise was a hit, with the first batch selling out in less than 30 minutes. And over 5 days, the sales reached $1.8 million, with all of the proceeds being donated to different charitable organizations in his state of Vermont. Yeah. And I just found that really very sweet. And the gift was from a Vermont elementary school teacher, a woman named Jen Ellis, and they are knitted out of recycled wool materials. So it's just everything about them is on brand, so to speak. Exactly. Anyway, this whole story was a delight, and it's been everywhere in the media, but it made me smile today, and that's why.
Yeah, what I love about this is like a positive momentum zeitgeist, and we've talked about sentiment investing and this rush to respond, and that people are very much looking for things that they can cotton to and dash with. And there are so many times where that comes together in a really dangerous and really bad way. And when it comes down to Bernie and his mittens, there's nothing bad about it, right? I mean, some of the memes are snarkier than others, but for the most part, it's this general, generous, good humor. And then for them to have said, all right, let's take this moment, let's take this zeitgeist and run with it and use it to create donations and use it to create abundance. And, $1.8 million. I just went on to BernieSanders.com store, and these t-shirts aren't even that particularly cute. There's a crew neck, a women's tee, and a men's tee. They're all sold out. When I click on it, it's like 4 to 8 weeks for delivery for your crew neck. I think I'm probably going to order one. But I love the positive momentum from something, because these kinds of things are what we need to all glom onto. Positive, fun, creating good things for the world.
And it's just fun. And it's nice when you can spend your dollars and they end up having a pro-social benefit that goes along with that. It's not about merchandise or lining some person or company's pockets, but rather paying it forward. The charities, for example, Outright Vermont, Passion for Paws. Speaking of paws,
yes, I know exactly. Passion for Paws.
Food banks and after-school programs, all these different programs that they are helping to contribute financially to. I just like that. It kind of reminds me of the ocean cleanup sunglasses.
Yes.
I mean, I don't know how good those sunglasses are, but if you spend money on sunglasses, at least you know that you're helping to clean up the ocean, right? It's got that quadruple bottom line.
So mittens, kittens, wood. We've also got some great other stories on the Optimist Daily today. We've got Girl Scout Troop 6000 gives support and membership to homeless youth, which is a lovely story. The U.S. government, this was difficult for us not to talk about, but because we talked so heavily yesterday about no cash bail, we didn't talk about this one today, but this is amazing for social justice. The U.S. government to discontinue the use of privately operated prisons. That is a phenomenal story. It has great economic impact and social justice impact. Please read it on the Optimist Daily to better understand that issue. Women tend to have low levels of this key nutrient. Here's how to fix that.
Which is iron. Yeah.
I was going to say, so is that chocolate? Because that was my nutrient.
No, it's iron-enriched chocolate.
I know, exactly. Kristy and I both had some self-care with chocolate this week. It was a week. Let's see. Raising a tax credit for struggling families can help reduce child neglect. That seems like a no-brainer. What else do we have, Kristy?
There is also an article about how Boeing wants all of its planes to fly on sustainable fuels by 2030. And that was another story that I was drawn to today, but didn't feel like we had the room.
Well, because we did EV and social justice yesterday, so today it had to be mittens and wood, but yes.
There's a snowy owl in Central Park for the first time since 1890. That's actually a beautiful, beautiful bird.
Yeah.
A new study is bringing even more evidence that afternoon naps do your brain a favor for the afternoons. You
Do
know?
you think our writers intentionally did this to like explain if they might be napping when we try to call them in the afternoon?
No, I don't think that's the case. And then soybean shells are being converted into a healthier sugar, and that is today's Optimist Daily.
Could they put soybean oil sugar in our iron fortified chocolate?
And then you have
basically be a salad.
It's sort of a superfood, and then we don't have to eat our vegetables too. Exactly. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. So that keeps me optimistic.
All right. Well, that is it it's Friday. Clearly it's Friday because we are just going in all different crazy directions here. But I think we'll call it for now. Thank you so much for listening to today's Optimist Daily Update. Summers and I promise to continue to share positive solution-based stories, and the rest of the team at the Optimist Daily. We all promise to share these with ideas on how you can participate in this changing world and ensure it's changed for the good. We promise to keep covering current events with accuracy, legitimate sources, and offering you the information needed most to chart new paths for all of us.
And please, if you're feeling like you'd like to increase the iron in your life, do it with okay, that's not really a realistic transition, but okay, what I'm basically saying, as you all know, is it's time to become an emissary on theoptimistdaily.com. For just $5 a month, support reader-funded independent journalism. And get this weekend's Optimist View. This weekend's Optimist View is going to be pretty amazing. It is about the advancing medical technologies that have come out of the pandemic and
the pressure cooker of the pandemic.
Exactly. Everybody be part of the solution, changing consciousness and addressing our world's biggest challenges with a problem-solving mindset. Let's keep the Optimist Daily free to all who need it, supported by those who can. Thanks, everybody. Have a great weekend.